Okay everyone, now that you've checked your answers through your answer key, go ahead, you're going to watch the video. Any question that you missed, you'll correct. What I write, you write. If you got it right, skip it. You're only doing the ones that you got wrong. For number 1, they asked you for equal numbers of oxygen. This is on page 32 in your notebook. For each one, I would have underlined oxygen. Then you just count them. This is inside the parentheses, so you can multiply inside. 3 times 2 is 6, no parentheses, 3, 4, in parentheses, multiply. 3 times 3 is 9, 3. So we have 2 and 5. 2 and 5, your answer should have been C. Number 2, they want to know how many atoms are represented in the reactants. So this one you had to know your formula. Remember we practiced yields, products are the end, reactants are what's going to react. So we just count. 6 times 2, 12, 6, 12, 6, 18 plus 6, no, 6, 12, 24, plus 12, 36. This one you had to know your formula and that you multiply. Number 3. Which of these is best? There's that best, that tricky. Evidence of a chemical reaction occurs when coal burns. Let's see, coal contains carbon and other elements. Carbon dioxide forms when others occur in presence of oxygen. City girls like their cell phones on. Chemical we said was a new substance, and this is on page 38. Gas, light, temperature, color, precipitate, odor. Shape, nope. Oxygen is present. No, oxygen didn't create, oxygen was already there. A new substance is produced. Our coal is made up of more than one element. That has nothing to do with chemical. My answer has to be with C. A lot of you I saw chose B. It does say oxygen, but it didn't say oxygen is created. It just says oxygen is there. So be careful. What evidence supports this inference? Well, let me see what inference. For an investigation, a student poured a blue solution of copper sulfate into a beaker. The student placed a shiny silver strip of zinc metal in the solution and observed the changes. The students inferred that a chemical reaction occurred. So they want evidence of chemical reaction. City girls like their cell phones on. Remained silver. Remain, this is change. A dark solid. Liquid, liquid, solid. It's going to give you a precipitate. The copper 2 sulfate solution turned blue when the zinc metal was added. Well, let me see. It started out what color? Blue. So not unexpected. None of these are evidence because I have my precipitate formed. So do you see how they didn't give you the term precipitate? They expect you to know that 2 liquids are going to form a solid. Number 5. Which 2 factors should be included in the investigation to ensure accuracy? Okay. Let me see what the investigation is. A group of students designed an investigation to demonstrate ocean tides. So the 2 factors for ocean tides. We did this on page 51. Now, we didn't explicitly talk about this, but if I look on page 51, you should see that you have moon phases. Moon phase, moon phase. Gravitational force, rotation, you should know it gives you day-night. Tilt, we know gives us seasons. Rotation gives us day. So I should have been between A and B. Did we ever talk about the solar system? No. Gravitational forces are what's going to cause those tides to change. And is this equation consistent with the law of conservation of mass? The law of conservation of mass. So they're asking you, does it remain the same? Well, let's check. Elements, we have magnesium. I don't know where I'm gonna write this. Magnesium, sulfur, oxygen, hydrogen, chlorine. Magnesium 1, 1, 4, 1, 1. Magnesium 1, sulfur 1, oxygen 4, hydrogen 2 times 1, 2, 2 times 1, 2. And let's check the other side. We already have them out. 1, 2, 2, 1, 4. Magnesium remains 1, chlorine 2, hydrogen 2, sulfur 1, oxygen 4. So do they remain the same? Yes. So I can eliminate these no's. Yes, because the elements on the reactant side are the same as the elements on the product side of the equation. Or yes, because there's an equal number of atoms of each element on the reactants and the products. Remember, I didn't count how many elements there were. I'm counting the atoms. Those subscripts are the atoms. Now, if you pick G, very, very close. You know what you're talking about, but be a little bit more careful when you're looking at it, because the key term was that you knew elements versus atoms. Number 7. Which substance most likely created a new substance to be formed when mixed with water? New substance means chemical change. City girls like their cell phones on. Floated, no. Sank, position. Oh, bubbles. Dissolved. We know dissolved is physical, like when we dissolve the Kool-Aid. Bubbles lets me know that there is a gas produced. I'm looking for C. Number 8. What should the student do in order to best model day and night? Okay. Tilt, and that's seasons. I misspelled seasons. Paint one half of the ball black. I'm not going to paint nothing. So I'm not going to paint anything. Am I going to spin the ball in a different direction or shine a bright light? I can't spin. Even though rotation does cause day and night, it can't go in a different direction. Earth doesn't spin in a different direction. I'm going to use a bright light to represent the sun, so I can know that this is day and this side is night. Number 9. Hold on. Which diagram shows the position of Earth when it is summer in Argentina? Now you have to know that Argentina is in the southern hemisphere. So first of all, I can cross these two off because they're not even tilted. I'm looking at the South Pole, so I'm going to look over here. Is he tilted 2 or away 2? So this is going to be summer. 2 away. This is going to be winter. If you chose D, D would be correct if it was somewhere in the northern, but they asked you for the southern. So be careful with these. That means you know what you're doing, but you need to slow down and read. Number 10. Oh. Which model shows the positions of the sun, the moon, and earth that have the greatest effect on ocean tides? So, greatest effect. Now, greatest effect you should know is a spring tide, which means a straight line. I can't even go straight here. No straight here. Nope. My answer has to be J. Now, if you didn't know that, another way to try to figure this out is draw your lines to see how they align. And you would see that all 3 of these align at a right angle. Okay, if they all occur at a right angle, that means the only one that it can be is the one that's not, which is J. Number 11. Now, if you missed this one, slow down. Just slow down. You don't even have to know what you're talking about. It can be a really good guess, but slow down here so that you don't miss it. Which pair of the diagram shows immediately before and immediately after? Before, after. Well, let me look. This has 50% illumination. So I know that now to see if he's increasing, decreasing. Light on the right, which means it is waxing, which means it is increasing. So if I go from 50, I have to go 75, 25. Now, when I say you kind of don't have to know, let me think. How can I go from right, right, left? Right, 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 left, right, nothing, left, right. So kind of just look at the position of the sun, of the illumination too. But this is how you would solve it. 25, 50, 75. This is 75. A's out. 25 would be correct. 25 would be correct. 75 would be incorrect. Over here, 75, 0. The one that matches is C. When will the next waxing gibbous moon occur? So the first thing I have to see, waxing gibbous. Light on the right, 75%. Where would he fall? 0%, 50%, 100%, 50%. So I know if he's on the right, he has to be on the waxing side. So he's going to be on this side. And he's going to be between 50 and 100. So he's going to be here. This is your waxing gibbous. So I just need to find these dates. One major phase every 7 days. New moon, first quarter, full moon, third quarter. That's one way you could figure it. Can you do 7 plus 7, November 14th. Plus 7. What is that? 7, 21. Plus 7, 28. Plus 7, 28. 29, 30, 31, 32. We would have gone to this. Oh, I don't need this one anyways, but I would have gone to December. So I'm looking between the 21st and the 28th. 7, 13, 20th, 28th. Or you could have realized it's the same moon pretty much every month. So I would have been looking for, I could have said November 22nd and November 29th. I'm just adding a month later from here, and they still would give you close to these. So there are two different ways. Now this one was easy peasy. Read what it says. Most likely using a telescope that detects. Well, let me see what it's detecting. That determined certain quasars was emitting waves with a wavelength of 10 to the negative 9. So I have to look at wavelength. 10 to the negative 9 would fall here. So I'm looking for ultraviolet or X-rays. Ultraviolet or X-rays? Ultraviolet. Which of the following best describes the days and nights shown in the model below? So they've already labeled day and night. Let me look for the seasons. Tilted to the sun, summer, winter. But they didn't ask me about seasons, so I'm going to take the seasons and take it a step further. If I'm in summer, I have long days, long nights. Okay, the northern hemisphere is having days that last longer. Yes. The southern hemisphere is having days that last longer. No, they have nights. Both hemispheres are having nights and days that last the same amount. You'd be looking for that spring-fall equinox. Both hemispheres are having days that last longer than nights. That means they would both be having summer. They both can't have summer. My answer has to be F. 18. Why do other stars look much dimmer than the sun? Dimmer means why don't they look as bright? Remember we watched the video. There's suns that are bigger. I'm not sorry, not suns. There's stars that are a lot bigger, but we see the sun a lot better because it's closer. The sun appears yellow, which is true, which is more visible than other colors. No. The sun is much closer. Yes. Other stars are made up of different gases. Never talked about gases. As light from other stars travel through space, it gets reflected. No. The answer would be B. Number 16. The HR diagram above shows how the brightness, surface temperature, and color of stars are related. Which of these observations of Bernard's star is most likely accurate? I find Bernard's star, and it's less bright than the sun. That's true. Has a surface temperature below 38,000. Yes. And is red. Yes. Bernard star is less bright than the sun, we said that, and that's surface temperature above. If it was above, it'd be over here. Remember, that was the tricky part about this one. This one, as it increases, it moves to the left, not to the right. You have to notice they're getting bigger to the left. He's not above. Bernard star is brighter. No. Bernard star is brighter than the sun. No. My answer has to be F. (17) What is the classification of the star described? A newly discovered star burns as bright as 65 suns and has a surface temperature of 8,800 Kelvin. Based on the HR diagram above, which is over here. So I'm looking for 65 suns, so I'll be somewhere over here. And a temperature of 8,800, so I'm somewhere over here. And if I look, where both of them cross are over here. I'm looking at the white main sequence stars. Based on the diagram, what spectral class does Bernard star belong to? It is 5.9 light years, nothing about light years. Temperature is what I want. 2,800. There's 2,400, which is close to 2,800, so I'm going to go with M. A is closer to 10,000. B, too big. He's in the 20s, 18s, double digits. And O's all the way by 34,000. I had to go with M. And number 19. There are various other planets in the universe. However, Earth is the only known planet that can sustain life due to Earth's tilted axis and the distance from the sun. Predict the characteristics of Earth if it had no tilted axis. You have to know that the tilt causes the seasons. If Earth had no tilt, there would be no seasons. Since the Earth is not tilted, there would be no variety of temperature, and day and night would be equal. Once you have this down, go ahead, take out your test tracker. Your test tracker is going to be the last thing we finish. The one where you talk about what you need to work on and you circle the ones that you got correct. If you have any questions, please let me know.